Think Play Chats. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Tamara. And today we're going to talk about art as an emotional playground.
Yes, I think art comes close to the dance feeling, or can.
Yeah, it can.
If you feel like it has to be perfect. There's a preciousness sometimes around the word art that can make it feel like you're not included.
Right.
Like, I'm not an artist.
I felt that way for a really long time.
Well, I think most of us do, because we have this idea that artists are some special category of people.
Elite. That they have talent that is inaccessible.
That's right. And that you'd be born with this thing. And it's just not true.
Yeah.
And I just think that if we look at the power of art as a tool to access feelings, it's incredible if we can move into that sort of like more looseness around and make it easy for people. Like okay, so when I grew up, as if, you know, I had a million brothers and sisters. I am exaggerating, but you know,
quite a few.
One of 11, and we had lots of foster brothers and sisters. But my mom, we had a wall in the dining room that my mom was actually between the dining room and the kitchen, and we could like doodle on it, whatever we wanted, and once a year they'd paint over it. It was so much freedom, because it wasn't like everyone were going to do a mural and then you felt like it had to be really good. You knew it was going to be painted over. Yeah. It honestly didn't matter, but it was this expressive place, and actually, ironically, it was right near the phone, and in those days, our phones were attached to the wall. And so as you were on the phone, you used to...
Oh, you could doodle while you were
you would doodle and draw, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have that in my household, but I recreated that by often covering the dining room table with paper, so people could just doodle and just keep pens and markers out, and same in the classrooms, just covering the desks or the wall, where people can just like let out some of what's out without it feeling like to be perfect.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of the Peter Reynolds book Ish, of course, and well, he had sort of there was a trilogy, Ish, Dot, and Sky Color, and Dot was both Dot and Ish were pretty transformational for me, just in giving some room and permission for it not to take away that sense of being right, that sense of there being an outcome to it. Because if we're talking about art as an emotional playground, it is about the process. It's about making room for something to come out of you. And if
you feel like you have to be perfect, well, there's nothing coming out. You're working,
right? Or what it's supposed to look like, and you have to make it out to conform to that. That doesn't allow space, and so we can have art that isn't actually an emotional playground. It's more about, you know, getting it right,
which would feel alarming.
Yeah. And I think the more we can make it easy, this is the piece. Make
accessible,
it easy and accessible, that art can be in any, and whether it's pieces of nature, you know, I think of some of the collages that we've done that are just, you know, collect some items and bring them together. What's going to express what's there inside of you? And sometimes you can even be surprised once you start the process. And I love how you talk about sometimes just using crayons, big broad bold, or the big crayons, because there's more forgiveness. You're not trying to get it,
or have everyone do their art with oven mitts on. This works really well too, because it's impossible to be perfect, and so then you just let it go, and there's a lot of laughter, and you just let it go, because it's not going to look how it is in your mind. So you just, it's like a leaning into that. It's like kind of fun. And the other thing that can work that way is like sort of more in community engaged arts, where everybody's working on something together. And if it doesn't have to be a perfect mural or something, it's just that you're bringing your piece, and you can add to each other's. All of a sudden, it feels less like focus on you, especially if you're a child or a student, a teen, anyone who feels like it has to be perfect. All of a sudden, it's not about your art, but everyone's just adding stuff together. You're all coloring it in together, or you're all adding together, and it's just like this big exploration that's not focused on one person.
Wow. It's, I think of even just making room for, you know, the doodling, like you said, right? That could, or it could even be scribbling. It could end up, you know, that the scribbles have to come out before there's room for anything else, right?
Absolutely.
And how do we make some space for that? How do we, you know, like in the book, The Dot, where they say the girl, she does this dot on her page, and she's, I can't do it. And her teacher goes, oh, well, you just did, sign it. And then she frames it and says, you know, and she goes, well, I can do that. I can could do more than that. And then she starts drawing all these dots. Well, it led me to drawing all
Yeah,
kinds of dots myself, and
Yeah.
it opens up the
Exactly,
the door to everything else. It's just a door.
Yeah. And I think that if we can stop getting caught in thinking that art is about the way something looks, as opposed to art being about the way something feels. And we can just relax ourselves into that, and relax the children in our care, students in our care, our children.
And not drawing attention to it too much. You know, not like making it so, oh, what are you drawing, or what, you know, but to actually just let it be, and let it quietly be.
It's a good point.
It can shut it down prematurely sometimes.
And also, if you say to a child, oh, what are you drawing? Often a child will then feel a need to answer that, so they'll come up with an answer, where it could have just been it might have held something that's intangible. And so we can just let it be.
There weren't words for it, which is a common theme here for emotional playgrounds. There aren't words, which is why we're doing the art.
This is why
music.
we go to art. This is why we go to art. Yeah, it's true. Okay, well, if you want to hear more of our Rethink Play chats, head to Rethink Play chat. I can't even
rethinkplayproject.com. Yeah,
thank you.
There you go.
Tamara. Oh my gosh.
See you next time.
Yes, see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.